Hello, and welcome to Coins of America. Now, some people choose to coin roll hunt half dollars. Both of the two banks that I have tried getting those from have refused to give me half dollars. Actually, it's more like four. Some people choose to coin roll hunt pennies. My banks decide that they only will stock one box of pennies at a time and will not order them. So I have chosen today to coin roll hunt tax tokens. So sales tax tokens were made in the 1930s, and they are of denominations of less than a cent. That one does not have a denominator. Okay, actually does. So this one is a 1/5 cent tax token. So I got these all from a coin show today for free. I have not looked through them yet. So there's I think 5 in here. We have this, we have these two, and then we have 45 of them that have basically been put into a quarter tube that we're basically going to coin roll hunt. So first, let's start with this one. So this is a Colorado retail 2 mils. A mil is 1/10 of a cent token, sales tax token. But then here's a weird thing. I noticed this earlier. When you flip it, you can see that it has a rotated die. So when you flip it, it's supposed to be upright, but as you can see, it's sideways, which I believe is an error. As I just showed you, we have these 1/5 cents. These are 2 square ones, which make them pretty cool, but I already have a bunch of these, and they're not that rare. So I just left. I've arrived back with an official attire upgrade, and let's keep looking so I don't damage the tax tokens by getting my fingerprints on them because they're very thin. And by the way, most of these tax tokens are only worth about 10 cents a piece. Not worth that much. So in here, these are all from Oklahoma, apparently. Oklahoma is one of the most common states for tax tokens. I have not opened this up yet, though, so I have no idea what's inside. Okay, so that's kind of strange. I haven't seen this type of tax token before. These are really thin cardboard tax tokens, as you can see. They're really thin. So usually the cardboard tax tokens are are really big, like the size of a dollar coin. But these are really tiny and really thin. But they're all the same type. Oh, okay, so there's an off-centered one here, which is pretty so there's another error in this slot, which isn't off-centered. I'm gonna put that under the microscope. Yeah, so it's definitely off-centered. I'm not sure if these things are even valuable at all, but still, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So there's a front. And now we will move on to the great roll of 45 tax tokens. Okay, so let's see what we have. So sorry about that. I was just seeing if I could sort them by state, because they're issued by the different states. 12 different states issued them, but the U.S. government didn't issue them. They're issued by states, cities, and sometimes private companies. So first off, I see a Utah one and a Louisiana one. Now this Utah one has some nicer luster on it. right off the bat. It's not very high grade, but still it has some nice luster for a tax token. It almost looks proof-like, but it's not a proof. They make proof tax tokens, and they never will. So next up, another weird thing that I'm seeing that I don't usually see that often. Oh, that's some odd lighting. So usually the Oklahoma ones are printed on or are minted on metal, like this one. But this one is minted on plastic, and it's also off-centered. But that's a harder to find one that I haven't seen before. So there's that. So looking into it, we have more smaller ones with holes in them, and also a lot of more common ones. The state of Washington ones are probably the most common. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of those. So this is a brass one, I believe. And brass ones are usually harder to find. Usually they're aluminum. So yeah, that's a bit rare, and that's from Mississippi. So the brass ones are generally worth a little bit more. So right here we have a Missouri sales tax token that somebody drilled a hole through. These ones are pretty common. It's a half a cent one. But ooh, yeah. Okay. So next up, we actually have a red one. So now, since a lot of tax tokens are made out of plastic, they were able to take the chance to dye them red or other colors. Red is one of the most common colors because red pigment is actually the cheapest pigment to buy, if you didn't know that. So this is a 1/5 of a cent one from Colorado. So moving on, I see one from Mississippi for 1 mil. But what makes this one strange is that it has a square hole when usually they have a round hole. And then this one has a triangle hole, which is also kind of cool. By the way, I'm going to put this red one under the scope so you can see it. There we go. So there's more of the pretty generic aluminum ones. This one has a plus-shaped hole. So there's actually a lot of different hole shapes that you can come across. I also did a presentation on tax tokens at this coin show to a bunch of kids. But yeah, so more of the hole ones. Now this is another one with some nice kind of proof-like luster on it. It's not a proof, but it is proof-like, which makes it pretty neat. I'll put that under here. So next up, here's another one of the, for old age assistant, really thin cardboard ones. Actually, it might be cotton fiber. I'm not really sure. They only printed them on one side, which is, they were trying to save money by not printing the other side. That can go over here. So here's another example of a red dyed one. This one is much brighter. These are probably the cheapest tax tokens that you can buy. So if you ever see these, you should usually be paying no more than 5 cents a piece on these. They really aren't worth that much. So here's another brass one, but it has a triangle hole. Yeah, so as you can see, these these are probably some of the most common ones. Okay, so if you remember the Missouri one, that was hold. Here is another example of one from Missouri. I don't know what composition they used on these from Missouri, but I generally find that the ones from Missouri usually look like this, and they usually look like something has happened, like they've gotten corroded. So let's put that under there. We have more brass and thin plastic. Here's another one of those really thin plastic ones that I showed you before, that I haven't seen before. Okay, and this is another one that I have not seen before, out of a couple in here. So this is an Alabama one, plastic one. Yeah, but I've never seen an Alabama plastic one. Usually they look more like this. Usually they have a star on them. Those are the only ones that I have. So I'm guessing that this plastic one might be a little bit rarer, but I'm not 100% sure. And the design looks kind of weird to me. So we have a few more left. More brass. Another Missouri one, with a hole in it, which, okay, now that I think about it, the hole was probably intentional. They probably did that in the minting process, so you could put them on a big string and chain them together. Because, yeah, they're both in the same place. And there's another one with nice luster. Okay, so here's something that you probably wouldn't expect to find in here, because this one right here is not a tax token. This is an Office of Price Administration token, and these were issued during World War II to ration the food supply. And then from what we have left, here's an interesting one. So this one is for 1 1/2 mils, or 3/20 of a cent, and that's a smaller square one. If you remember, I showed you these larger squared ones from Colorado. Well, here's another squared one from Illinois. Illinois issued a lot of tax tokens, and most of them were by individual cities. So we have 4 more left. We have 2 of the star ones, and then 2 more of the hold ones. So here is all of it. We have all of these over here. These ones over here, the square ones, all the thin cardboard ones, and then the OPA point. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you can like and subscribe. Really need to get to 400. Actually, we really need to get to 400 subscribers if we want to stay in business soon. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and bye.